I'm hopping over to my desk right now, and here I am.
All right, man. I got something I'm finishing up, and then if we have time, I'll start up something new.
Yeah,
How long do you usually go for?
Like my podcast goes for an hour or more. The streams I've been doing, sometimes we hang out for hours, sometimes it's a half an hour.
It's crazy how it flies by.
Yeah, it is, man. I like how it almost preoccupies your mind enough so you can work in this like Zen mode.
I agree. And people were digging it when we were doing it live for that reason. They said they were just putting it on in the background. Not that that's exclusive to something that's live or pre-taped, but overall people dig it.
Yeah, people like to interact.
Yeah.
I mean, the nice thing about when I was streaming with the Essential Sequential is Jason moderates it.
What is that Essential Sequential? I don't know
That's it's the art group I'm a part of. Like Jason's our art dealer.
Oh, okay.
At like cons, we're all set up with like the purple banners.
Oh, okay. Okay. Cool.
So when we
so you
do
got
it,
a little network going then.
yeah. So when Jason does it, it's like he can sit there and like moderate and say, "Hey, Sean, someone wants to know like how you just got that effect." And
oh yeah, that's great. That's great. How's it been going in general for you, man?
It's been interesting. I mean, there's been a lot of positives from this and some hard negatives.
Yeah.
But how about you?
I mean, I tell people I'm very blessed right now. You know, the only concern my family has, because we're all, you know, teachers, and recently I got hired to work full-time at Skybound, which had me working from home anyway. But our only concern is my dad, who works at as Homeland Security at the airport, you know.
Oh shit, yeah.
He doesn't, there's nobody really at the airport, he says, so that's
right,
you know,
that's true.
That's good, and he does work like tucked away in the back office, but still, you know, he's in that target age, and he's had some health issues in the past, so that's the only thing that we're keeping our fingers crossed for. Otherwise, we're doing okay. You know, my brother's got a newborn, 6-month-old niece. My niece, his daughter. So we're like, you know, making sure she's cool and happy, but otherwise, like we're not doing too bad as of yet. Knock on wood.
What you're not teaching anymore, are you?
No, I just retired from teaching in February, actually.
Awesome. I remember doing the same. I used to teach as well.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude. Me and one other person built the sequential art department at SCAD Atlanta. And
no kidding.
10 years, yeah.
Holy crap, dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to talk to you about teaching. You taught at the Art Institute there?
No, not ever at the Art Institute. I got hired for my first teaching gig during the recession, and it was at public schools, and I got bounced around because of that, because so often somebody would have to cut their art teaching job, or they would give it to an administrator who was let go of their position. It was a crazy thing, but suffice to say, I've taught everything from kindergarten to.
Oh, all right. I thought you were like an art teacher at the Art Institute for some reason.
Yeah, I taught art the whole time from kindergarten. I've taught for a little while. I even taught everything all the way up to grad students at University of Miami, and so I taught there. I've been teaching for 12 years in total, I think, when I tried to count it up the other day. The whole time teaching full time, yeah. Yeah. In those positions, I taught everything, but I set up. I was teaching 2D character design for animators at University of Miami, where it was essentially teaching students who had a lot of programming knowledge and back-end computer knowledge to be able to think visually and develop their characters, even if it was like, for some of them it was basic, for some of them they were taking like their first lessons in like cartooning and figures, sketching and stuff like that.
Right.
And then some of them were able to really, become more of an independent operation when it came to like programming and developing their own video games or animation, stuff like that. That's cool.
That's cool. Yeah. So now you're at a point where you can now focus on art full time, right?
Yeah, because I've always been balancing, I would
Yeah.
always wake up. I'm sure you know the story, but I would wake up, for the last couple of years, I was waking up at like 4:30 in the morning as things were revving up. And I
Yep.
would get to work at 5:30 and work for 2 hours before my students even showed up.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what I was doing. I was working for Marvel full time and running the sequential art department for a good 5 years.
That's nuts.
And that shit almost broke me completely. Well, it kind of did.
It's wild. It's hard to manage it because, it's a juggling act, and,
Yeah.
the Marvel job might not be as secure as a teaching job, but it's your dream job, or something like that. So
Right.
you're trying to,
Right.
it's a lot of people don't get that. I will say
No.
though, that one of the benefits of it, and I don't know if you agree, is I feel like we're, folks in our situation are pretty well prepared for for a lot more than the average person because of how hard that balancing process is, and the fact that you've survived it and come away this far. I think
Yeah.
you're
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it also like I just reached a point I just had to take that leap and go for what I wanted, not just play it so safe all the time.
right.
And that was a good lesson too.
What was that leap?
It was quitting teaching and just going full time on the freelance.
Oh, damn. I never had the balls to do that, man. I kept
Yeah.
thinking about it. I kept thinking
Well,
about it.
yeah, I had to. I mean, I literally doing both landed me in an MRI where they thought I had brain cancer. I was so stressed and anxious, and I had
Yeah.
these headaches and these dizzy spells, and it was all stress and anxiety. But they kept like going to the extreme with it at the doctor's office,
Yeah.
and that's when I was like, I need to take control of my life, man. I
Yeah.
can't just like playing it safe is actually hurting me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I say it all the time. I'm like, I never thought I would get to this point, but I'm never going back. And I'll die before I have to go backwards now.
Yeah, and also once you take the leap, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna make sure I figure out how to keep doing this. Like
That's it. You
when you
just
have
tread
that like
water.
comfort and that safety, it tends to like prevent you from figuring out how to make it happen. You just believe you like I spent too much time believing I couldn't make it happen. It was unsafe. And then when I did it, like now I'm looking back, I'm like, oh, I left teaching like 5 years ago and I'm still here.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's an amazing thing because that's exactly what happened with me. I was worried. In the back of my mind, I figured, I could probably do this. And then I thought, yeah, but what if? And I never had, the courage to do it without something secure. And
Right.
what is secure, really? I mean, I was
Right.
late, you know.
Right.
So it's like,
Exactly right.
yeah. So it's like amazing when I meet people who were able to pull it off. So congratulations to you, because that's,
Oh, thanks, man.
you made it to what I always tell people. Like, I feel like we all had the same dream in one way or another as kids. We probably have that all in common.
Totally. Totally.
And if you're anything like the life I lived, where it was like people encouraged it to a point, but they're also like, but don't get too carried away. You got to figure out how to make money.
That's exactly right. That's
Yeah.
what landed me where I was, like overworking and killing
Yeah.
myself to try to be
Yeah.
safe. And
Yeah.
look, it's not like it hasn't presented its challenges and like I've had my moments where I'm like, I have no money coming in, what am I gonna do? But all that stuff's just taught me how to get through those periods.
It's amazing.
So I mean,
I got to the point where when because I was doing conventions since 2012, and I would do like 3 to 5 a year.
right.
And only in the last 2 years did I leave Florida to do a show, because I couldn't figure
Okay.
out logistically how to get all my shit out there.
Right. Yeah, yeah, you got a big
Yeah, I mean, I try to be nimble, but I've got like these big prints, and
right,
it
right.
it took a while to figure it out. And but when I finally figured out how to do it, and I started to see that showing up was half of the battle,
Yeah. Yeah.
I started to really double down when I would talk to my students and my students' parents about how much the mentality of, have a backup plan is very dangerous. Like,
I
I get
agree
them,
100%, man.
right? I get the reasoning behind it. I don't think that
It's
anybody
safe.
means, yes.
It's safe,
And
but go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
well, I was going to say, no parent wants their kids to be at risk. So I get all that. But at the same time, I know a ton of friends and people I've met over the years, including parents, who are super successful financially, but they always feel comfortable letting it slip to me that they wish they had pursued this or that or the other,
Yes, everyone. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I heard that
right?
all the time. And
And I
honestly,
can't
like,
stand the idea of being on my deathbed with regret.
yeah, that's exactly right. But,
Yeah.
and also, like, while there is that mentality of like, you want your kids to be okay, I don't agree with the message of be safe. Like, this
Yeah.
is your one life, this is your one chance. And
Yeah. Yep.
if you're going to do it, go for it. I mean,
I
I just
totally
found
agree,
like
man.
every time I hear that, like, it's not safe thing, it's like for you, it's not for you to take a risk. There are people that take risks in lives and do great. Like,
Yeah. Well, look at you. You suffered actual physiological results of playing it quote unquote safe.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah. It's insane, man. And I look, I feel very fortunate to be in a position that I'm in, but I look around and I know how many people are more talented, more experienced, and I say this is fleeting. It's fortune. Anybody else deserves the same thing. And the reason that I even have a shot at it is because I didn't bail and I kept going after something, even when I was told don't do it or it's not going to work out. And that's
Right.
why what I would tell my students, I'm like, dude, always strive to be the best, but don't wait until you're the best to start, getting shit done.
Oh, yeah. It's like when we were getting on here, I liked what you said. Like, I don't know how to do this. I'm just throwing myself into it.
Yeah, dude.
I'll
And
figure it
and the
out.
other thing, I don't know if you encountered this, the more I'm willing to put myself out there in a quote unquote vulnerable situation like that, like you just mentioned, the more I get people coming out and revealing their vulnerabilities that they otherwise wouldn't share.
Exactly. Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're all in the same shit, dude. It's like I I I just have this like thing in the back of my head that I'm always fighting with, which is like this infantile PTSD from being like an 8-year-old kid going into a comic book shop and kind of like, being treated like a child who shouldn't be in there in the first place. And like with all the gatekeepers that used to lurk at these comic shops and,
Wait,
don't touch this. You shouldn't be reading that. And why are you reading this instead of that? And
really? That was your experience?
dude, I had it tough in Miami. I don't know how it was ever was, but like I remember I would go to buy like before I was into comics, I was collecting Marvel cards,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
because the to get into comics back then with the stories, at issue 300, 400, 500, it was daunting. So the only comics I would get when I was a kid or whatever my dad would bring home from like a pharmacy or whatever, and they were always random. There was one, the best source of comics for him back then was a Cuban restaurant that would sell shrink wrapped packages of random comics.
Oh my
So you would
goodness.
get like you would if you were lucky, you would get like a AAA title, like a Batman or a Spider-Man or something, right? But
Yeah.
majority of the time, you would get some weird stuff that was headed for the 25-cent bin that you had no frame of reference for. That was like, and you're like, what is? And so you would be I'd be into it because I'm just into comics.
Right.
And then the Marvel cards came out. I don't know if you remember those or not.
Yeah, of course I do. Yeah.
Okay. So those things for my age group, I was like super young. I must have been 9 or 10. Those things filled in all the information of the Marvel universe, and eventually DC did the same thing. And then the second series they put out everybody's powers on the back. So like I finally got to understand the whole comic universe. So I would go to comic book stores now, searching for these cards, and the clerks at the stores that I would go to would like scoff that that's what I wanted, that I wasn't trying to buy. Or I would find like a card, and like I remember the Adam Warlock was like the strongest guy.
Right.
And I'm like, I gotta read an Adam Warlock comic. Where are those? And I remember one time walking in, and the guy's like, dude, again, this guy must have been like in his 20s, 30s, and I was like 10. And my mom or dad would drop me off at a comic book store while they do groceries and pick me up later. And so that he would be like, dude, you can't just get an issue of Adam Warlock. You have to know what's going on. Or so it was always these gatekeepers, man, dude, in my life.
That's
like
so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
I
didn't have
always
that at all.
experienced that. Yeah. I always experienced that with it was like, did you ever see the movie High Fidelity?
Yes, yeah. You had snobs, you had like nerdy snobs to deal with.
But as a kid, I was so intimidated by it that I always remembered that feeling.
Dude, it's amazing how people don't realize how important it is to like give children positive experiences, because it
seriously,
shapes
man.
them.
Yeah.
That shit, like if they would have been nice and showed you the way, think what that would have done for you.
Dude, I firmly think that there are as many amazing people as I meet in this industry, and I always try to keep myself, even though I don't really work in sequential art or in comics, I've always been around it, right? And I firmly think as many amazing people and generous people as I've met, and there are a lot because I wouldn't be here without that, there are a bunch of people who are doing a gigantic disservice to the longevity of the industry because of how they don't think about kids.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah.
Like, and then kids are nervous, and they get anxious, and they want to fit in, and they don't know what they don't know, and it's like from teaching you learn that like a lot, even when they're older kids, and and if you don't bring them in, they run away, and then you lose them, and they're going to associate the whole industry with negative experience.
Yeah, that's a good point, man.
Yeah, but I still find that when I'm meeting new people that are amazing artists in this field, going back to the original point, and so many of them have difficult like social cues and behavioral qualities that I'm like, how are you going to survive like this, dude? Because I can look at them and go, you remind me of one of my students. I don't get offended. But I'm like, you can't talk to an editor like that. You can't, pitch a book like that,
Yeah, but I think some editors are just smart enough and used to it, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people who are more social. Like I think myself, like I have a strong social skill set. But, some of the best artists I know don't have that. But
yeah,
I mean, I guess that's just part of the job of being an editor.
Yeah. And I don't even mean like outgoing. I mean more like friendly. Yeah. I know a lot of quiet people who are super friendly.
Is a social business. It is. Yeah. And you're right.
So I feel very blessed to be in the situation that I'm in right now. And I just can't wait to keep fighting on it for it,
Yeah. Can you tell me about your Skybound job? I'm curious to hear all about it.
Dude, it's so zany that as I'm sitting here talking to you about it, I'm like, I tell my wife all the time that I feel like we live in a simulation, because we've had such amazing experiences in the last 2 years that if anybody doesn't know me, they'd think it was like an overnight deal, but I've been grinding for so long and laying things in place for things to fall, happen. But with Skybound, essentially what I do is I had this brand that I was developing, Attack Peter, that was, a goofy Instagram or Twitter handle that I had created years ago when I had a little studio set up with another buddy of mine, and we called it Attack the Planet. And so each of us chose emails that were like, our name with the word attack in it. So mine was Attack Peter, right?
Yeah.
And it was like kind of like a spoof on old punk rock guys that would be like,
Yeah.
no, you know what I mean? And so anyway, so Attack Peter just kind of stuck, and I was doing these block prints, and I was, doing these stylized interpretations of things and trying to get attention. So I was always working with, licensed characters that were, unlicensed images. And it took off little by little. I think the novelty was cool, and I was always working really large, which would help me stand out at a convention where people don't work that large all the time.
Right.
But eventually with Skybound, I met the CEO, David Alpert, at a Comic-Con in San Diego. And I was lucky to be there because, that's such an impenetrable show if you just want to sign up for the first time.
Right.
But
Right.
I had applied for a grant from a nonprofit called the Kevin Workman Foundation. And if you were selected, they give you a booth, they pay for your flight, they pay for your hotel, dude, it's like the full treatment. They took me out to dinner twice.
Wow.
They gave me an Uber card to get back and forth.
Wow.
I mean, it's the only way a guy like me who could have ever gotten a booth at Comic-Con, it just, and so at that booth, I'm sure you've been to Comic-Con once or twice.
Yeah, I used to go every year for about 10 to 12 years.
Okay, so I had only attended it a few times, in the early 2000s, never exhibited there. And so when I was set up there, every day was an insane onslaught of people. It was a corner booth too, mind you. Wow. And it was batshit crazy. And people were coming by left and right and giving me business cards and let's do this, let's do that. And I was just, trying to keep track of everything. And one of the people that walked up in the madness was a man who I didn't recognize his face or name or anything, named David Alpert. And super nice guy, very complimentary. And then he gives me his card and says, "Hey, well, I work for Skybound. If you ever want to, do something, let me know."
How long ago was this?
This was last Comic-Con.
Oh, shit, that fast.
Yeah.
Wow.
And dude, everything happened even faster than it sounds because I'll explain. So, I didn't hear back from them. I didn't reach out to them and I didn't hear back from them for a little while. Everybody was in recoup mode and, squaring things away. And eventually one of them reached out to me online, one of the folks at Skybound, and asked if I'd be interested in working on a print for a license that they're going to be working with in the future. And at first I'm like, heck yeah. And then I started thinking about it. And I had made a promise to myself that in 2020, I was going to focus on original stuff only. I had made some original designs. I was going to fabricate a figure. I was going to, I had gained enough notoriety to the point where I think I could stand on my own 2 feet, not using other people's characters or images,
Right. Right.
So they called. So when they asked me, I said sure, I'd love to do it. And then at one point I kind of started inching back away from the offer, and I finally told them, listen, I don't think I'm the right guy for this. I got this going on. And then I recommended another friend of mine who would have been good for it, and they were very cool. They understood, and I explained to them why, and then we kind of just left it at that. And then a Designer Con was coming up. Have you ever been to that show in Anaheim?
No, I want to do that show really bad.
It's a fun show, and it's the show that really changed my whole life and career because it's the first event that I was able to get into that was outside of Florida that had some big reputation to it, Yeah. And when I first got in, some folks told me oh, don't do that. You're going to die out there, You're not going to do well. Your shit's not going to sell. It's a toy show. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to give it a shot,
Yeah.
And so there's always people, dude, who have something to say.
Yeah, they do, man.
Yeah, man. And anyway, so that was the first time I did DesignerCon in 2018. When 2019 DesignerCon is rolling back around, I get another email from the CEO, David Alpert, who this guy ended up being, the guy who came up to me at Comic-Con. He is the CEO.
Yeah.
And he emailed me and he says, hey, so you're going to be in the area, maybe we can have a meeting or something, or talk or whatever. And we tried to figure it out, and I just couldn't figure out how to get to their offices in Beverly Hills from where I was in the limited time I was going to be there. And so he says, don't worry, I'm going to send some folks out to go talk to you. And for every day of the show, a different member of the Skybound team came to meet me and say hi and talk. And you know, and I had told them, listen, I'm sorry I didn't end up doing this piece with you guys, but I have some original ideas if you're interested. And they started, you know, responding well to that, and they started telling me some ideas that they were having, and it ended up really well. I thought that maybe they were going to be interested in like working on an original IP with me, and that I had spoken to them about. And then, you know, we went home and I got a phone call a week or two later asking, you know, how I did, and how, you know, just checking in, and would I be interested in working with them, you know. And I said, yeah. And would I be interested in working full time? I'm like, well, yeah, but I teach, you know, I don't know how I could balance two full-time gigs like in an official capacity. And they said, well, our goal is to like make you an offer that it would be worthwhile for you to give up teaching. And
Yes.
dude, are you kidding me? I was driving, I had to pull over. And I remember, so we just basically discussed some hypothetical terms, and we finally, you know, agreed that on numbers and like, you know, what the position would be. And essentially what it is that now Attack Peter, the brand, is a part of Skybound, right?
Yeah.
And so, and I continue to do what I'm doing. And now we're working on like an original products that are with original designs by me, and you know, working on some of their licenses, and kind of just like, I think, you know, if you think of kind of like what Shag does.
Yeah.
So, you know, he has a style, he works original stuff, he works licensed stuff, but it's always, you know, you can tell it's Shag. I think like that's the idea, is to develop a brand like that.
Wow.
And yeah, right. So, you know, they've been amazing and like so enthusiastic. And, you know, I flew out to meet everybody, and they basically explained how the company works, because, you know, as you probably know, they're much more than a comic book company now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we talked about where we see Attack Peter, you know, existing in what medium and all that. And so now we're like in the early stages of developing it all. And I'm doing designs, and um, in fact, the last couple of projects I just, you know, released were the last things that I had agreed to do before signing with Skybound. But now going forward, it's all that. It's just all going to be Attack Peter stuff under Skybound.
So that's amazing, dude.
It's crazy, dude.
That's a
It's the
really
craziest
unique
thing.
and interesting opportunity that
Yeah,
you
it's.
kind of
I'm
created for
hoping that it.
yourself.
I'm sorry.
You kind of, I mean, you created this for yourself. It's amazing.
Yeah, and the thing is, I wasn't really seeking it out. Like, it wasn't something that I had. It wasn't something that I could have articulated. It was like too good to be true, so I would never have articulated this. But what I'm hoping now, especially in light of all the difficulty that is going on with Diamond and the comics industry and all that kind of stuff, what I'm hoping now is that what I'm doing works out really well. Because if it does, I feel like they would be willing to do it with somebody else, and
Right.
other companies would be willing to do it with others. In the past, you know, there was exclusivity deals that artists and writers would sign.
Right.
But I'm thinking like, you have so many talented people out there that it's probably smart to start thinking of each of them as a creator unto themselves,
Right.
and, you know, giving them a salaried position in your company, so they don't have to worry about where the next check's coming from.
Yeah, I
And
mean, I think Skybound is very progressive thinking for this.
super, yeah,
I cannot see DC or Marvel ever think, and they are so steeped in the "we are the star, not you" people ideas,
yeah.
and that
But
I mean,
that's fine. They can exist doing that. I think that other companies though are gonna who don't have those IPs that can rest on, or don't
yeah,
have the corporate backing of Disney and Warner Brothers, will if this works out, that would be like a kind of a cool thing to start thinking about. And
totally,
because it's given me the peace of mind to be really pushing what I can do, and to really be experimental. And I've always struggled with that, because I'm always like, okay, I know that if I make something original, it'll do okay. But I also know that if I make something that's, a well-known license, I'll sell the shit out of it.
right,
And I
right,
need to make those decisions. But now, but the problem with that is long term, I don't really grow as an individual. I'm always leaning on stuff that it already exists. But
right.
now I can take those risks and grow something slowly and organically, and build upon the audience that I've already developed myself,
Do
and
you
see where
get
it goes.
do you get to keep any ownership of the creations you make?
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Everything is, yeah, it's awesome.
That's great, man.
Yeah. So it's like it's essentially that I'm just earning, you know, everything that I would do will go through them, and then the money gets worked out, through the various channels. But the idea is that it's like getting to literally be a professional artist with
Right.
a regular check, and working with a team who recognizes that you have like some selling power of your own. Because I was doing okay, my
Right.
last
Yeah.
year was really good.
Yeah, that's
And
great.
that's thanks, man. And that's why I was considering bailing on some license stuff,
Right.
and and the team at Skybound, they're really just like, okay, we see you on your own path. What we want to do is multiply the people who are aware of you, use our connections and channels to give you different platforms than you wouldn't have had otherwise. And man, it's just, to me, it's a logical move,
Sure.
but it does take somebody or a company who is willing to be, more progressive, like you put it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing.
But it's no wonder that it's a company that has its roots in Image, and Robert being an Image, and that
Right.
whole philosophy that Todd and everybody had way back in the day. That was really progressive.
Yeah, it was. It was.
you know
Well, I mean, yeah, yeah. It's great to see that that stuff is like going on right now.
do you ever watch those documentaries of the Image story about Image and all
I
that?
haven't seen the documentaries. Um, it's not that I didn't want to. I
Right,
just
right, right.
haven't. But I
To
mean, that
me,
was like I was big into comics during that whole time, and that was
sure,
I was I was a part of watching that all unfold as it did.
sure. I just love hearing from Todd McFarlane now as an adult. I watch every interview he does, and I've gone back and listened to everything he talks about. And that guy has it lasted as long as he has, and stayed relevant as long as he has, because of his philosophy more than anything. Because he's had big success, and he's eaten plates of shit, and he's been the toast of the town, he's been the butt of the joke, and yet he's out there right now, like when he goes and does cons and everything,
Yeah,
explaining how possible it is for everybody else to come up and take it from him already. That he doesn't understand why the young people haven't come up and try to take his status yet, because that's what he wanted to do when he was coming up.
right.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So I'm just very grateful for guys like that still doing what they're doing. and being the opposite of gatekeepers. You know?
Right, totally. All right, Jeff just texted me. He's ready to come in. So let me.
I want to rag on him when he gets in here,
All right.
Mr. Secret Agent.
Jeff Dekal. All right, I'm sending him a link. Okie dokie. All right, so let's see if he's getting in up here. Should be popping in soon.
What are you working on, by the way?
It's a commission I'm doing of Constantine
Nice.
painting.
That's right. I love the paintings you've been putting out, man.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, that's been a lot of fun for me. It's like a chance
Really
to
great.
learn and grow and make some money at the same time.
Heck yeah, it's a lot of value that you can offer now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just riding it, seeing where it goes. I mean, I kind of said to myself, I wanted to do 30 paintings this year just to learn and fuck up as much as I need to,
Mm-hmm.
not trying to make them perfect. And I'm at painting number 5 there, 6, 7. I think I'm at 8 now.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, that's a lot farther than I thought I'd be right now.
Awesome. I love it.
Looks like
Look at
Jeff
that.
coming in. Let me make sure his audio is working.
Yeah.
Yo.
Jeff,
Hey, buddy.
What up? Hold on.
Okay, cool. We got all of us in here now.
All right, cool.
What's up, buddy?
What
up,
up?
man?
Chilling, man.
Looking good.
What are y'all talking about?
I was giving him the recap. He was asking me about the whole Skybound thing.
Oh, okay,
that we were
cool.
talking about the other day. But what are you working on?
Still on these donation sketches that I'm doing. I think I got about 7 more.
Those look great.
Yeah, they look amazing, Jeff.
Thanks. Yeah, I didn't take any requests, but you know, not everybody, but I got a lot of people just saying, I know you're not taking requests, but can you do a female? So I just
Oh, there you go.
yeah, so I'm just doing all females just
Like
because I,
you're
you
gonna
know,
say no to drawing a female.
exactly right. I mean, I enjoy doing it. I know people like that from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's like when you get to a point where you know to commission someone and just say artist choice.
Right.
Yeah, man. I love it. How you been holding up since we spoke last?
I'm fine, man. Just
Yeah.
whatever, dude. This is it. You know, it ain't like could be so much worse.
Yeah, of course. Well, I was just
Yeah.
looking at that
Oh.
article that came out about from Diamond. Did you see that? It just came out
No, what did it say?
that they're
No.
not going to be able to pay vendors because they're not getting cash.
Oof,
What
I
do
knew
they mean? What do they mean by vendor?
So like the publishers. So, you know, if they ordered books from you, they can't pay you for this month.
Dude, this
Which is-
industry is fucking taking a beating.
Yeah.
Actually, now might be a good, Jeff, I can explain this stuff to you now. It might be good to actually have on air for other people too when we release this.
Yeah.
And Peter, I don't know if you're looking into this at all, but
Tell me.
I found a bunch of, like for me, like my wife is a commission-only employee at a spa, so that closed, so her income's gone. And then for me, the way I had planned my spring into summer income was mainly conventions, and then those are gone. So it kind of put me in a position to like figure out other ways to bring in some money. But I looked into a lot of the relief they're offering, and it's kind of interesting. And I've been emailing people all morning, small businesses, freelancers. They have what's called a disaster relief small business loan
Okay.
offering right now, and you can borrow up to $2 million depending on your business size, and it's only for small businesses. anything from a freelancer, sole proprietor, up to 500 employees.
Wow.
And what they're offering is you can borrow up to $25,000 with no personal guarantee. You just fill out these little forms and you take the loan. You can pay it back over 10 to 30 years at a 3.75 interest rate, which is really low. And you can defer the first payment for a year.
Okay.
And then, so what they're doing is they're like, so if you want to borrow up to 25, it's going to be very, like, we're just going to be throwing these out there. And for everyone applying for a loan, we know you need money quickly. So the first $10,000, we're going to get to everyone who applies within 3 days into their account. Now, if you are, after that, if you're applying for more and you're not approved for the loan, you keep that $10,000 as a grant. You don't have to pay it back.
Whoa.
And then for beyond that, like, let's say I take out the 25, which I can do with no personal guarantee. After the government will forgive, meaning you don't have to pay back any of the loan that covers this 8-week period of your normal pay to you and whatever employees you have, your rent, and a few other expenses. They will forgive that amount. So for example, if I take out 25, I did the math, 19,000 of that is forgivable, meaning I don't have to pay it back at all.
That's incredible.
How do we guarantee that we're not going to pay it back? Because you said, you have to apply for the loan,
Right.
but then it's like if you don't qualify, or I forgot what you said, but like, is there any way to go into it only knowing, okay, I just want the $10,000 grant. I don't need the 25.
The $10,000 is basically like no matter how small your business is, we are pretty certain that no one's going to have to pay back 10,000, because just like for me, for example, I'm an employee of one, so I only have to pay myself. I know how much I pay myself every 2 weeks, or you figure out how much you would have made in that time frame. And knowing that plus what my office rent is how I came up with my figure. So that will be forgiven. Now, if you apply for that 10,000 and then apply for more and you're turned down for the more, that 10,000 turns into a grant automatically. You don't have to pay it back. So
sounds too good to be true, though.
What? Go ahead.
It sounds too good to be true.
Well, what they're trying to do is save our economy from small businesses just collapsing everywhere, sending us into a depression. So yes, it sounds like they're giving away money, which up to a certain amount they kind of are, to prevent a full economic collapse.
Is this part of the stimulus?
Yes,
package?
This is all part of that $2 trillion stimulus package.
But that doesn't make sense because the New World Order wants to eliminate the middle class.
Oh my gosh.
Well, yeah, I mean, but the truth of it is the middle class is supporting a bunch, and if it collapses, everything collapses.
Yeah.
Everything crumbles. So I have a link, which I sent to Jeff. I can send to you, Peter, to get that 10 grand. It takes literally 3 minutes to fill out online.
Yeah, I'll definitely.
It's the easiest thing I've ever filled out. And as long as, everything looks kosher to them, you're supposed to get that 10,000 in your account within 3 days.
When did you fill it out?
I filled it out like 2 hours ago.
Okay.
And I'm waiting for the lady who owns my building. We're talking every day. I've got a few small businesses I'm friendly with, and we're all sharing information. I'm going to apply for an extra 15, and we're figuring that out now. But they have this $10,000 they want to get money in the small businesses' hands as soon as they can so they do not collapse.
Yeah.
and then they're going to take like another 3 weeks to get the bigger loan money out there.
Wow. Well, that would be great. I
Yeah.
remember during the recession, there was a tax credit that I was able to get for buying a house. And
Yeah,
'cause
I
that's when
remember that.
yeah, but then at that time it was not scot-free. Like I had to pay it back in my taxes over the next few years. But
Yeah.
a little bit later, people applied for the same thing and they had changed the policy, so now it was just like free money, you know?
Oh shit. Yeah.
Mm.
I mean that's why I hopped on it today, because things are changing and shifting so fast, and
Yeah.
there's so many people who are going to be applying for it. I didn't want to get like the system to just freeze up because it's so overloaded. Like
It's gotta something like this has to happen, or a lot of people are not going to bounce back.
yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. So I'm just trying to keep us all afloat in my house too. So I just jumped at it.
You know, and it's interesting because you were mentioning how the conventions are a main part of your income, and I'm thinking like because people are talking about whether this convention is going to be open this year or whether that one is, and I'm just thinking like, let's say X convention opens at some point, like New York Comic Con, because that's far down the line, right?
Yeah.
Like, what would it be like? Because how
Oh
many
yeah,
people are
yeah.
no, yeah, because how many people are not in a position to spend a lot of money right now,
Right. Right.
and how
Right,
many people
right.
have folded up since, like small
Right.
vendors.
Exactly. And that's why they're doing this, is they're trying to prevent as many collapses as they can, so that
Yeah,
future business isn't totally disrupted as well as current business.
Because
yeah,
think of
Pete.
all the small booths.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, Pete. Yeah, I mean, even if they do, the show's going to be for sure going to be a fraction of the size.
Yeah, and then if let's say all the vendors do show up, like there's going to be a ton of the audience who's like still sketchy about big crowds.
Yeah, totally.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
I
we're
said, Pete, I've said this I've said this to Sean a couple times, but it's like the virus ain't going away. Maybe it'll lay low, there'll be
Yeah,
less people with it, but still, it's like, okay, let's say New York Comic Con's in October. Dude, would you want to risk getting the virus while you're traveling and shit, and then
I
getting
know.
sick like on the road? Like that would suck. Just getting a regular cold sucks enough. Getting some kind of respiratory illness while you're traveling would be fucking terrible.
That's what I'm saying. And we got a way to go before a vaccine still. Like we have a whole con season to go through. Like the whole con season is a risk to me right now.
Exactly, man. I don't see conventions doing anything this year. Maybe small ones or something, but I don't see
You might
major.
be right, man. As the words are coming out of your mouth, I'm like, God damn it. You might be
Yeah.
right. That sucks.
Yeah, because let's say just the liability.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
Like how are you
so
going to
many.
guarantee?
Yeah, there's so many things. There's so many what ifs. There's so many things, man.
And yeah, man, fuck. Because you could argue that New York could be out of the, at the bottom. They could be at the end of their wave by the time the con comes around. But
Dude,
since
they're
it's,
not that, but that's crazy because they haven't even started, man. They're
I
like
know,
just
I
setting
know,
up all the beds and
I know,
tent hospitals now, man. Like
I know.
dude, there's no way.
Because if you just compare it to China, and then if you if you're guaranteed all the numbers coming out of China are legit in the first place, but let's just say they are, they still have a way to go before they mirror those stats. And China
Right.
locked people down, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck, it's crazy. The only thing good that can come out of it, I feel like, is a lot of businesses are gonna have to evolve quicker than they had been in the past.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that, man, there's so many things that we can't even foresee that when this
Yes.
not I don't want to say when this is I don't like saying when this is over because I think this is just a shift in our way of life. I mean like whatever for argument's sake, let's say when it's quote unquote over.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean all life, all life does is adapt and evolve to survive. And like
Yeah.
you can put that on any level you want. You could put that as a business trying to survive. You can put that as someone with a chronic illness trying to live, you know, like just to survive. And that's fucking human ingenuity, man. So like people are gonna come up with ways,
Yeah.
with things, with methods, with things that you could have never predicted without this scenario actually happening.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
totally
true.
agree. This is like if you were experiencing 9/11 in super slow motion,
Right.
in the sense that if you, because 9/11 happened so fast and it
Right.
was so abrupt and nobody saw it coming. So it's like you didn't have time to ponder what the world would be like in the future.
Right. And also
Right.
it ended as fast as it happened. Like,
Right. So
Right.
now this is such a slow burn
Yeah.
that all there is contemplation and what if and how do you do this,
Yeah.
and the long-term effects of 9/11 are really weird if you think about it. Like after the first 6 months, like the real lasting effect is what, that we take our shoes off at the airport
Right.
because people still travel like crazy, you know,
right.
in terms of your daily life, you know.
Right. Right.
I don't know, man. It's weird stuff. But I feel like you got to be resilient and just do whatever you got to do to survive. Whatever you got to do to get through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if that grant is possible, then I hope people get it who need it, man, because people need to fucking come through this shit.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I like. I'm just in survival mode.
Yeah. But it's also, I feel like, a good time, like we were saying before, like Jeff was pointing out, to figure out how you can be ahead of the curve, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, like this Zoom stuff and
Yes.
podcasting this way and streaming, like it's opened up, like all these commissions I got were from streams.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh shit, there's a whole area I have not tapped into.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there's a responsibility that independent artists have to connect directly with their audience as soon as possible, and
Yeah,
like
I agree.
build that community as soon as possible, because then you can leverage that going forward. You know, if
Yeah.
you tell a future employer, hey, I'd love to work on your book for X amount of whatever, but I make that on 1 week of streams, you know.
Right.
And if you do hire me to work on your book, this whole audience that follows everything that I do, they're coming along for the ride. So that's exposure that you didn't have. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Or
Right.
even better, like I can just do the book I want to do
Oh, yeah.
and put it out myself the way I want to do it. I mean, watching what's happening with Diamond right now, it's like, I mean, we've all been kind of knowing this was coming. Like
Exactly.
the writing was on the wall.
It's been on the wall, dude. The fact that
It's
the comic
amazing we made it
industry,
this far.
yeah,
Well, I was just
exactly.
gonna say that. Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
The fact that Comixology hasn't gotten everybody to make the shift like, you know, Napster did for music, a bigger
Right.
industry, by the way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that, the music industry should have been the canary in the coal mine for every physical media industry,
Yeah.
you know, and because of that, like happening now, some people are better prepared for it and some aren't. But the good news is the one good thing is that we're all on freeze right now. Like everybody has the same ability to be stuck at home, to think about shit, to ponder it, and to make a move.
Yeah.
And guys like you, Sean, are ahead because you've been doing the podcast for a while.
Right, dude. Oh my God. It feels so good to know that like it's trained me and prepared me and I have this whole body of work. So now when I do these Zoom podcasts and I put them out, I'm putting out the audio on the platform with the old ones too. It's been a very innovative time for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been really hustling every day I can.
It's going to get to a point where, because of the instability of that business model of, you know, comics and stores that are popping up and closing down, that I feel like it's going to be a comic art or an artist in general it's going to be weird. It's going to be as weird for an artist to not have a direct contact with their audience as it would be in the past to not have a portfolio you could present.
You're absolutely right, man.
Yeah, like a website. Like a website is already kind of an old thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like there should be, if I want to look up Jeff Dekal, I should go somewhere and I could see all the work he's doing currently. When is he going to be, broadcasting it? When is he talking to us? And if you don't have it, it's going to be like, oh, okay. Because there's tons of people that I watch on YouTube and I now love and I'm a fan of, but it's really because they were there when I was looking.
Right.
There might be better people elsewhere, but they're not on the platform.
Right.
Totally.
And then you got the other side of the coin where it's like, man, like I hope that doesn't sort of, I mean, it is what it is. Whatever happens, we gotta just fucking roll with the punches. But now it might become like expected, like you have to stream and you have to,
right.
Like you have to do all that shit. And that
Well,
could
think
get
of all the cons you won't be going to.
Well,
right.
I see it more as opportunity. I mean, it's just you have this. You don't have to do it, but it's an opportunity to succeed.
Right. And then like Pete just said, like, dude, if like when one door closes, another one opens. So
right. And then you can have like, I mean, look at the Joe Rogan model. That is the craziest thing when you really.
Dude, he says it all the time. Like people ask him, like, "How'd you do?" He's like, "Dude, we were just fucking getting high, smoking weed. I was blasted. You can look at the first 100 episodes that we were just so fucking high and blasted, talking shit. And now it's turned into it." And then he says that he didn't choose the podcast. He says he thinks the podcast was like an entity that is like using him. Like that's how he puts it.
Yeah.
That's how
well, I mean, if you think of it, like the one constant in all of us is the desire to be a part of community.
Oh yeah,
and,
human instinct.
And that's the reaction that has happened so vividly. Like, okay, we're all forced to stay in our houses. Now go on Instagram. All of your stories are lives. Right. Everything is live. Everything is happening.
Oh,
live.
dude.
You know what I mean?
Web cameras are sold out everywhere now.
Everywhere, dude. It's a shift. It's a new appendage. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so it's like if the fruit started growing on a higher branch, everybody starts to build a ladder. You know what I mean? It's like
that's what I said earlier. We just figure it out, man. One thing happens, you just figure it out.
But a lot of people are gonna be behind on it. And look, Sean's been doing it for a while. I know, Jeff, you've streamed before in the past, right?
Yeah.
Here and there. I never have, really.
Peter, I never have either until this coronavirus. I never streamed before.
Oh, okay.
That essential sequential stream was basically in response to, oh shit, we were supposed to be at a con making money this weekend. Let me try this.
Right. Well, then there you go. It's like, here we are, I've never done it. And in the last week, I've done 6 or 7 streams, and some of them have gone into 3 hours with people who I've known for a long time, but I've never had that long of a conversation with.
Yeah.
And it's been kind of super organic and easy going, and people have been DMing me like, dude, thank you for doing that, because I was working on my stuff at home, and it was so nice to listen to what felt like a studio,
Yeah, people love it. People love it. I would do Instagram Live when they first implemented it years ago, back when you can play music. Now I think if you play music, you get kicked off because it's like copywritten.
No, Instagram has access to music now.
No, I'm saying if you play your own, like if I have music playing.
Right.
Yeah, but before, when I was doing it a couple of years ago, they didn't have that yet, and that's what I was doing. But yeah, Pete, like you said, man, people fucking love it, man.
You got good response, right?
Oh yeah, man. I never had less than 30 people.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Just visualize being at a con table with a crowd of 30 people watching. That would be crazy.
Right, well, I was thinking it's sort of like a panel, like you're just basically doing a panel. But when I say 30 people, I said I didn't have less than 30 people at one time. People are constantly coming in and out. When I'm done with the stream, it's I think, dude, between 300 and 500 people would have stopped in. Maybe they stay for a second, maybe they stay for 5 minutes, maybe they stay for the whole time. But
it's crazy.
Yeah, Yeah.
And even if, let's say you went crazy and you did one every day, which I don't think anybody's at that point, but let's just say you did. It's 1 to 2 hours of your day potentially where you're in the mind share of the audience that you're trying to build.
Right.
Right.
And where they thought of Jeff Dekal in the last 24 hours, and they may not have even thought of Jim Lee, Alex Ross. You know what I mean? And so now they know that you're somebody they can access, and you're as skilled and talented as anybody else. And the other artists they can't access. So they're going to be part of your community, watch you develop stuff. You know, it's a whole thing that happens that if we were kids, if I could pop on and
Oh
watch
my God,
McFarlane,
yeah,
dude,
totally.
come on.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? And then you
Yeah,
would be a lifelong fan.
right, man. I remember, well, when MySpace came out, that was the first time where it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, like maybe they didn't check it, but I was like, holy shit, I can just send a message to like a rapper or a celebrity, like just like that,
Exactly.
because, you know, MySpace came, you know, I was whatever it was, 2003, 4, whatever. So I was already, you know, 18, 19 or 20 or whatever. But growing up, when you're a kid, you know, you have, you know, your idols and stuff, and dude, you couldn't talk to them, and then you can talk to them
That's it.
with MySpace, and then all
Dude,
the
I became
comedians,
friends with Killer Mike because of that. Like, it's crazy.
right, and
How
then
funny, dude.
and then all the comedians, they always they give all the credit to Dane Cook, because he was
Yeah.
the
Right,
first,
right.
he would go, and they said he would answer every single fucking message that he
That's how
got
he
from his
blew
fans.
up, was all through the
Yeah,
MySpace shit.
yeah,
It's amazing, dude. And so here we are at another crossroads like that, and it's just a weird one, but I feel like everything else we're going to come out of it, and then some of us are going to come out of it with a new merit badge, and some of us are going to be the holdouts. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Because I asked a few people if they wanted to go on Instagram Live. I said, dude, it's super informal. We're just going to go on there, talk a little bit, draw a little bit, and see how long we feel like doing it. And I have no idea what I'm doing, so let's just see. But let's just do it, you know? And for everybody like Jeff that said, yeah, let's do it, there were a ton of people who are saying, no, I don't think that's a good idea, or I
Really?
can't. Yeah, dude. People who were saying that I can't show what I'm working on. And I would tell them,
Oh my
dude,
God.
just do something else. Like, just
Yeah.
do like anything else. Take a break from what you're doing for an hour.
Yeah.
And you know, you don't want to be pushy on anybody, but you just can tell that there are some people who are apprehensive, and that's okay. It makes sense. It's new.
Yeah.
You know,
Were
anything
they-
new can be. Huh?
were they a little bit older, or were they younger? Were they our age?
All ages, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like this thing of, and then I really believe this, that there are some people who think if they start to do that, then they're gonna have to keep doing it, and then you know what I mean. So like they put all this stuff in front of them, but it's
Right.
okay.
Right.
It's okay. Everybody has to come to things on their own. It's fine.
Right.
No judgment, but right.
No, of course not. But
Right.
the good
I
thing
understand
is
what you're
that,
saying.
look, I would be lying if I said I didn't feel a little bit self-conscious doing it, because I'm like, I don't have any background in this. You know, I teach for 12 years, so I know I talk all the time and work at the same time.
Right. See, I
But
guess
that's
I
it.
feel like my podcast has prepped me for this. Like, I just jumped into it and didn't even think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't
I
think
don't-
about it.
Yeah, I don't care, man. I tell and I love, man, like I love it because like in the beginning, I'll ask everybody, tell me where you're from. Tell me where you're
Oh,
from.
yeah.
Dude, bro, everywhere, South Africa,
Yeah.
all places in Europe, fucking the UK, like, dude, so many people. And then dude, I talk like I'm talking now. I don't edit myself. I mean,
Oh,
dude, I'm
you
not
know
gonna
I
say,
don't do that shit either.
yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna say anything crazy. Sean, I told the story. I'm pretty sure me and Matteo told you when it happened, but when we were in Bologna, someone asked me to tell like a cool con story. So this is the first thing that came to my mind when we were in Bologna, and you know how Matteo would shift rooms, like we share a room because
Yeah.
so the night that we were sharing a room, dude, these two Italian people were fucking in the room next to us, and the lady was super vocal. And but she's speaking Italian, and Matteo would be translating as she.
That's awesome.
I love
So
that.
I told that story. That shit was funny.
That's awesome, bro.
You guys, you've done cons all over the world, both of you.
Yeah, yeah.
Where's the most, I guess, distant place or unusual or foreign place you think you've done a show?
I mean, I've only done him in Europe or Italy. I've never done him anywhere.
I've done Argentina, Italy, and Croatia.
That's
And
fascinating, dude. Is
Croatia
it?
blew my mind.
Yeah. How so?
It was one of the most, I guess in my mind, when I thought of Croatia, I thought of like almost like Mediterranean, like wasteland, like rocks and gravel and like war torn. But I was in paradise on the Adriatic Sea. It was the
Wow.
most beautiful. It was like this mountain, this giant mountain that stopped at the ocean. And there's a village, like a little tiny harbor city at the bottom, and that's where I was. So I would just look up and see this mountain, and on the other side of the mountain, like from the airport, you drive by, and it was raining, and it was what I thought. It was pretty, but then we drove through a tunnel through the mountain, came out on the other side. The mountain just destroys the rain clouds. The sun was out, and it was like a Mediterranean paradise.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It was beautiful.
What a cool thing that drawing got you.
Yeah, I know. And they flew me and my wife out there, and they put us up on the beach for like a week. And
Look
the
at that.
convention it wasn't even a convention, it was a festival. And you had to set up at a bar on the harbor outside. They had tables set up, and people would just come up with tickets for like free little sketches, and they just bring you beers and whatever you wanted for free. And your requirements were to sit there for 2 hours, 2 days during the whole festival.
Wow, dude. You probably felt like a freaking gangster that week.
It was
Look at
amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, man. Those are the good moments when you feel like, okay, I made the right choice.
But
Yeah.
also that the trip Jeff and I took to Italy was a dream.
What was that show and where was it in Italy?
It was a show in Bologna, but we turned it into like a tour because our friend Matteo lives there. So we flew into Milan, went to Matteo's hometown.
Is this
Then
Matteo?
Sclera.
Yes.
And then he rented a van for us. We went to Venice for 2 nights. Then we went to Bologna.
Wow.
It was like we took this little mini tour of like central Italy. And
Yeah,
Venice
we
was
were
just,
in his hometown also, Parma.
yeah.
Oh,
We were in
cool.
Parma in his hometown. And then Venice just destroyed me. I'd never seen anything like that.
That guy's stuff is incredible, and I feel like he's only getting better lately.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Dude, now he's fucking painting, man.
Those paintings, dude, are ridiculous, dude.
Fuck him. Fuck you, Matteo. Stay
I
in your
love
lane,
it.
man. Stay in your lane.
That's so funny, man. And that's awesome. I really want to do a show. I've been to Europe a few times, but I would love to do it, on these terms. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Really, really cool.
When I went to Argentina, Buenos Aires, that was incredible too.
What's the story on that? What show was that?
They have 2 cons in Buenos Aires. Like
Is that the
big ones.
CCXP or something like that?
I don't
No,
remember.
that's in Brazil.
That's
in
Oh,
Brazil.
Brazil,
Yeah,
sorry.
I don't remember the name of this one specifically, but they flew
Doesn't
me
matter.
and my wife and Kerry Norden, his girlfriend, down, and they put us up for like 4 days before the convention so we could explore the city. They gave us like a per diem, and it was our first time out of the country for me and my wife, so it was just like incredible.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
When was that? Years ago?
No, that was like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. No, 2 years ago.
Oh.
No, 3 years ago. Actually, no. Jeff, I think it was like a few months before we went to Italy.
Yeah, it was around that time. So that was
Yeah, so it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really great. Who is the I don't know about you guys, but like I doing cons and getting to be on the floor early and walking around and getting to like see and meet certain people that you would otherwise have to like see from a distance. I
Yeah.
still get kind of hyped up about stuff like that,
Yeah, I
you
like to
know.
do that too.
Dude,
And
I'm a fan, bro. I'm such a
me
fan,
too,
man.
dude. Me too. I was
Like
telling.
when I was young, when I first I my fanboydom still I think reverberates from
Me too.
like when I first got in the industry and like made first impressions with certain people because I was
Yeah.
so dude, I was a kid. I was like 26 or 27, you know, and I'm seeing all my heroes and I didn't I didn't plan to be in the industry 8, 9 years later. You know, I
Yeah.
thought, oh man, I'm just living it up. I did a Marvel cover. I'm doing some conventions. I didn't know. So like I would go to their tables and act like such a fucking fanboy, man. You know,
Yeah.
and then I'd see them every year, and I'm oh shit, I guess we're colleagues now, you know, and I would
Yeah. Isn't
just
that crazy?
yeah. So it's just
I I can't apologize for that though. I'm just that's just the way I am. If it's bad to be a fan, I'm screwed because I
right.
really that's the way I am.
Yeah.
Who's the person that you met that you were like, fuck, this is awesome, and you know now you meet them as a peer, for lack of a better term.
I mean, I don't think we're peers, but I mean, it was Sienkiewicz, man. Like I couldn't believe
Awesome.
that I was meeting him. The first piece of original art that I ever bought my entire life was just some little tracing paper sketch that he had in one of his big stacks.
That's
And
Wow.
amazing.
That's
dude,
awesome.
I remember walking away with that, and I was like, I can't believe what I'm holding right now. I never thought I'd be in the vicinity in the position to be next to him to buy like an original piece of art from him, like that was
Did
unfathomable to me.
you get a chance to meet him at SuperCon in Miami?
No, I never did. I wasn't tabling when he was there,
Me
and
neither.
yeah, I don't even know what year that was, and no, I didn't.
It was 2011 because it was the year I went one year with Brian to decide to like scope it out to see like if we thought that we could do it, you know.
Right, that was
And
the
that
year.
was
That was yeah.
huh?
Go ahead, finish.
Oh, I was gonna say that was 2011, and he was one of the guests, and we were both like baffled by the fact that there was like nobody crowding him, you know.
Yeah, I
And
Well,
remember
so
that
watching him draw. I was a guest of the show, and I kept going over to watch him draw.
yeah.
cool, dude. And we walked over to him, and then like he had to go do a panel, and he says, "Well, why don't you guys come with me while I go to the panel, and we'll keep talking." So we started walking and talking with him, and he was telling us somehow the conversation got to the JFK assassination in the short walk that we took, and he was telling me all his theories on the JFK assassination. It was an awesome moment.
Wow.
Yeah, he's great, man. That was the year before I got my table and got my Marvel gig in 2012. So I don't
So cool.
think I was there. If I was there in 2011, it was just as a fan walking around. I don't even know if I went that year or not.
He's awesome, man. That's great that you have a sketch.
Yeah, but I do remember maybe it was 2009 or 2010, but I met Capullo. Um,
Another
dude, same
beast.
thing. Same thing. It's just because it's SuperCon, man. There was no there was
I
no
know.
one around
I
him.
know Dave
Um,
Gibbons was talking to nobody all day, doing full body sketches for $200.
right.
Wow.
Yeah, but Greg was super cool, man. Like again, I was just a fan. Like I had no work in the industry. I was just a fan or whatever. And I had a sketchbook that I didn't like offer to show it to him. But I, you know, I just said, oh, I'm an artist. Or I could, he could tell by the questions I was asking him. And he said, oh, is that your sketchbook? And I was like, yeah. And then he like wanted to look at it, you know, and he gave me like a print for free. And he was super cool, man. He was super
Oh,
cool.
that's
Love shit
cool.
like that, man.
Yeah, I love that shit too, man.
That's how you
I,
get fans for life, dude.
yeah. And I basically guarantee that if I met him today and I mean, I've kind of never like formally like had a big conversation with him at a show, but if he saw my work and he recognized it, he would never put that together. That he wouldn't remember me from that show like that as a
Right, right.
They see so many people, you know.
yeah.
What about you, Sean? Have you ever had a moment where you're like, oh shit, it's so and so?
I mean, I still get this. It's weird that I'm friendly with Klaus Janson. Like, it
Oh yeah.
still gets to me. Like, the other day we were streaming together, and I was like, I got quiet for a moment. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was at lunch with him in New York like a month ago, and like just when he comes into the con, because he's with my art group, Essential Sequential. So when he comes to the table, he'll be like, "Hey, Sean, hey, Mateo," and to me, it's like, what the fuck? How did I get here in life?
So crazy, man.
Yeah, it's rad.
He's amazing, dude. I love that guy.
He's so nice.
I can't help it. For me, it's always guys like Mignola. When I got to meet him, although he's not so delightful in person.
Yeah,
But
I haven't had any real interaction with him.
when I first met him, I was so disappointed because I had like studied his career up until that point, and I felt like this is a blue collar guy. He gets it, and I guess he had been burned so many times that he was a little more standoffish. However, he is a super nice dude. It's just that at first you might not get that vibe.
Right.
And he did a bunch of free sketches for me back then. He literally
Oh,
did like
shit.
6 head sketches for me for free. I was like 19 or 20.
That's
Oh,
And
cool.
shit. That's
yeah,
amazing.
he did a Hellboy sketch. He did Abe Sapien. He did Lobster Johnson. Then he started doing non-Hellboy characters. He did like an alien and a predator. It
Oh,
was like
shit.
nothing. This is before the movie came out. So and
Yeah,
that, yeah,
yeah,
man.
man.
And
Like the art dealers and the scalpers are fucking ruthless with him, man. Like,
well, that's what happened. He was
yeah,
doing, from what I
dude.
learned later, and this is all secondhand, so what do I know? And if it's even true, take it with a grain of salt. But he would do like $20 sketches, right? When he was coming up, that looked as good as anything that was on his pages, you
Yeah,
know? And so he would do them $20. He could do them kind of quick. He would turn them out, and then people would take them, immediately go to eBay.
yeah,
Now, this is early days of eBay, too, by the way, and make 500, 800, $1,000 off his $20.
yeah,
And
Yeah, there
so,
was a lot of artists got burned from that when that started
yeah.
happening.
yeah.
So I think,
Adam Hughes. He
Yeah.
did that.
oh yeah, you told me about that, yeah. Wait, I don't know if you told me that or Wayshak was telling me that he was doing sketches for nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
so
I
then,
know. There's this one art dealer that I know, and I was at a show, and I just, Mignola had like a long line. You're only allowed to buy one original
yeah,
per person, and I just walk right. They're all waiting to get signatures and talk to him and buy shit, but I just wanted to like look through his portfolio, so I just cut the line or whatever. Not even cut. I just walked it to the
yeah,
table.
yeah.
And so I get done, and then this guy that I know, he was in the line. He goes, hey, he calls me over. He's like, dude, he's like, if I give you money, can you stand in line and buy an original? You,
Oh my
you know,
God.
because he had one. He already had his buddy
Right.
doing the same thing, and like a few
Oh,
people back. They do that shit, man. They're fucking
yeah.
gross.
Yeah.
That's too bad, man, because that drives the price up so much that it prices people out, you know?
Right. And he told me, he's like, yeah, I got clients in like other countries who can't make it to the show. So yeah, I'm just basically buying it for them. So he pays what Mignola wants, then he ups it $100 to his client, and then so on and so forth.
It's fucking nuts. I don't know if I told you, Jeff, or who I was telling that it must have been 2003 or 4, one of those years that I went to the San Diego, and I was working full-time retail for the first time in my life, like not a part-time, a full-time gig. And I had saved up some money to go to Comic-Con and spend money, but I had saved up like $600, which is back then working retail, that was a lot of fucking money. And I took $600 to the show. I went in preview night, and he had a handful of sketches he was selling. And I got there just before the fucking line, and the guy behind me had a fucking manila envelope full of cash, like a drug deal, dude. And he was ready to take every piece he had. And he even said something like, "Hey, Mike, I'm going to take all of it, man." And
Yeah.
luckily I was there first. I'm like, well, I'm going to go first. And I wasn't even thinking about buying it, but the idea that this guy was going to take it all, he had these
Right.
sketches that were like 6x8 or something like that, for $500 a piece. And I shit my pants. I'm like, you can't, this is all your money almost. And I'm like, I just got to do it. And I bought one. I bought a fucking Mignola drawing that I still have framed to this day, which now, seeing what goes on eBay, like he's doing for charity right now, it would have been triple that. It's crazy. I love that.
Yeah.
But people will fucking scalp the shit out of those pieces.
Yeah, man.
That's too bad. But
Yeah, I mean, but you know that those eBay days, they taught people what their drawings were worth.
that's
I mean,
a good
people
side
like
of it.
Adam weren't charging a lot. They didn't know that they could get that much.
Right.
I mean, I remember I was like just getting started sitting at cons, and like what people were charging back then was like nothing.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen your stuff go on eBay, and has it affected how you charge?
Yeah, I've seen it.
I know what my threshold is, so like I've seen my stuff on eBay, and they might get a few bucks more, but not much.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
good that you have it set up that way.
Yeah, basically the same for me. I'm
The
more,
hype.
you know, what bothers me more is there's been a couple times where I remember the person who got the sketch,
Yeah.
and I remember how they were talking to me like this meant everything to them. They loved this so much, blah blah blah, and then it's on eBay and it's like, fuck you, man.
yeah, I get it.
That makes you salty, man.
I mean, but again, like who knows what's going on in their life and all that shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Actually, I had someone contact me once, and they were like, "Hey, man, I just want to give you a heads up. Like, one of his relatives was really sick. He's like, I need money, and I hate to do this, but I have to sell this. I just wanted you to know." I was like, "Hey, man, it's yours. Thanks for the heads up, and good luck." Like,
Yeah,
that's cool.
I helped promote it, so
that's cool.
Yeah, that was like, I get it, man.
Yeah. I've almost been there a couple times where I had to sell that piece. Yeah. It's crazy. Now I can't bring myself to buy a lot of original art though, because it's just like it's too luxurious. Although sometimes you'll
buy a piece at every show now, like even if it's small. I just
that's smart. And you can get some cool shit that is not like popular for like almost nothing. So, you know, Keith Giffen.
Yeah.
I bought a couple of pages off of one of his dealers at SuperCon for like 60 and 80 bucks a piece. And I gave one as a gift to a buddy of mine.
Oh, that's dope.
And they're rad pages. They're not even like one of them was a Batman page and I gave that to my buddy. But the one I got was just a page of like cops beating the shit out of this fucking hippie. I don't even know. It's so good considering the source too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things, man, to walk around conventions and find like a gem artist that I never heard of and they're super dope and they're selling their originals for like $50 or something. I'm like,
that's the single best thing, dude.
Yeah, man,
It's
if their work impresses me and it's not that much, man, I always
Heck yeah. Well, that's how I heard about Eric Powell, who does the Goon.
Yeah.
It was like
he's so good.
He's so good, dude. I had seen his stuff at the back of a Wizard magazine back in the day when the Goon was still. It was just being announced that it was going to Dark Horse back then. So it was 2002, I think, in Chicago, a convention in 2002, and he was at Artist Alley, and he had his pages for like $100 a page, and this is crazy. And so I bought 3 pages in a row, sequential pages from the Goon #2, the second ever comic. And my ex-girlfriend at the time, she bought a all pencil rendered page, which is like when the Goon is like a little kid and he becomes the Goon because he kills the mob boss, but it's all in pencil because it's a flashback.
Yeah, I remember that.
Dude. And so he was so grateful. He went and did a panel, the first panel he had ever been on, apparently. And during the panel, he wasn't very chatty. He was pretty shy back then. and we didn't know what he was doing. He was looking down the whole time, and off the panel he came down, and he had sketched on a napkin the goon in pen, the most beautiful fucking sketch you've ever seen, and it said, "Thank you for attending my first ever panel," or something like this. So he just gave it to us. The nicest guy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, that guy's a fucking class act, and he's always been beyond kind. I've bumped into him a lot of times over the years.
That's cool, man.
He's also incredible.
Love that guy. That guy's good. I love when people start up their own little little label too, because he has Albatross.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder what that's like when you have your own fucking label like that. A lot of pressure, I imagine.
Yeah, I guess he has a place to do his own shit. That's awesome.
That's true. What does it take? Like, what would prevent anybody who has their own thing from having their own label? Like, what does it take to do that? Do you guys know?
Money. I mean, like one of the things we're learning is this archaic distribution system of one publisher, Diamond. It's all based on the catalog, and to even get seen in the catalog, like as a small publisher, would cost you a fortune to get enough real estate in that catalog to get noticed.
Oh.
But now things are different. I mean, you've got the internet. You connect with your base there and sell directly to them and just cut that middleman out of it.
But even so, I mean, like when, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, when the comic shops, they get the new Diamond catalog, it's like if you're just some no-name publisher, the shops, it's like a risk for them, right?
Right,
Like
it's
they
a big
want,
risk because nothing's returnable. Yeah.
Right.
That's why Tate's is so great, because they order a lot of shit.
Right.
Had you ever been there, Sean? Tate's Comics?
No.
It's in. Yeah, you'd love it.
I'll have to check it out. I've always wanted to have like a signing and shit down there.
Oh, dude, that's the best place. I mean, they brought a bunch of names to do signings there. They had Jim Lee, they had Mignola, they've had everybody come down to signings.
Oh, that's awesome.
But they have the store is as big as a small grocery store.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, dude, it's almost like a little mini comic theme park.
Yeah.
It's
amazing.
I mean, it's 100% the biggest, best comic shop in Florida, and would contend with the whole United States. I'm sure it'll be up there.
Wow.
And they have everything. They even have an art gallery upstairs. They have an upstairs for like independent or smaller artists or bigger artists now too that have their stuff there.
Yeah, I used to show there. I used to do their shows.
Oh,
it's awesome.
That's awesome.
And they support the shit out of their artists. Like when I had no follower whatsoever, they would sell my prints there, and they let me design a shirt. So they were always really cool.
Yeah, my first ever art book that I put out when I was in college, like it was just like a little, more like a zine. Tate bought like 10 of them.
Wow, that's
awesome. Yeah. So you can find amazing, not to mention the back issues he has are outrageous. But yeah, you can find indie stuff like crazy there.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, was I telling that Beck Sinksy story with you, Peter? Was I?
Yes. Yeah. It's amazing. He had Mobius stuff before a lot of people were able to get it, because he would bring it in like the French and Spanish stuff.
Yeah.
Who do you think, in your opinion, is the best artist that you know that isn't that well known right now? Like that you think is under the radar?
In comics?
And I guess so, or in general.
I mean, my friend Rainier Gamboa. Do you know who that is?
No.
Oh man.
I'm pulling him up now on my iPad as you speak.
Yeah, dude.
Let's see. What does he do?
Fine art, surrealistic.
Oh wow.
Yeah, dude, he is the real deal, man. He is super master.
Damn.
And he's our age, man. He's 36.
No shit. He's probably killing it then. That shit's gorgeous. Yeah, check him. Whoever's listening, check him out. What about Sean? Do you know anybody comes to mind?
I'm sure I do. I'm just blanking. Can I say me?
That's awesome. Do you guys bump into like lesser known comic book artists on your that you think are like about to break, or like, you know, or that you think, how are they not more well known, or do you encounter that often, or do you think it's
I mean, how is Mike Huddleston not just an absolute rock star status?
Because it's the same reason why my friend Rainier isn't, man. It's not about the artwork. It's about them and how they handle their persona, their business stuff, the decisions they make. It's not the artwork.
No, right, yeah. Mike's art is fucking mind blowing.
I think Mike Huddleston is another one whose art is better than ever now.
Yeah, he's killing it. He's so killing it. It's crazy.
Because I remember meeting him when he was just doing like pages for Image or something, and they were good. But this is like just the commissions that he's doing, like those X-Men and Hellboy paintings he's been putting out are insane.
Yeah, those X-Men covers were crazy.
Yeah, the last few covers he put out were, dude, I stopped, man. I stared at them for a little while.
I love guys who can
do art books right here.
Yeah, everything in there. I saw him do a little flip through on his Instagram. Yeah, everything.
Yeah, it's so insane, dude.
And guys who've been doing it for a while who can also evolve is that's amazing to me.
Yeah,
because you have to evolve in front of everybody.
Yep.
You know, that's crazy. People are paying attention to him, and it's a risk. You know, he's doing okay as it is, and then I don't know. I think it's amazing.
Yeah. I'm gonna cut the stream if you don't mind. It's
all good, man.
Take care of some other stuff. Let me push stop, and then we'll talk a little bit.